Great.
Keep stirring away back there, Reggie.
The chef's in charge.
Cut! Look, Susan,
Steffi.
Steffi, this food sucks.
Run, okay. No. Here we go. Okay.
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Susan Allen, and this is
I'm the growth. My name is George.
Michael.
George Growth.
Michael is a growth tonight. No, this is the growth.
Yes, that's who I am. I'm Michael's growth in his head.
And you are here at A Human Among Humans, AHA. And tonight,
And who are you?
I am Susan Allen,
Good for you.
the singing song
You're the singing
living
song. That's
person.
enough. You are the singing song. That's enough. It's enough.
Tonight we're going to ask this 2-inch by 2-inch.
That's me. I'm in here, and I'm big. I am big.
2-inch by 2-inch.
Wow, that is big.
In the sinuses.
Are you impressed?
I'm very impressed.
Wow.
And my first question to you is, how long have you been there?
I have been, I don't know. You know, sometimes you don't know how old you are. They discovered me. I was so nice to be discovered in some ways, you know, because it's not good to not be known. They discovered me really in the beginning of January. They did this MRI, and they discovered that I was 2 inches long and 2 inches wide.
How did you get discovered? How did you make yourself known?
Well, I was messing up Michael's vision. He was seeing double, so we could see two of you. It was really nice. 2 of you is better than 1.
And what was happening when he went to drive?
He saw all these cars, and I helped him do this. I'm proud of this. Don't mess with me. He saw, like he's seeing on the side of the road a car, and then all of a sudden it goes right in the middle of the road.
Oh,
thanks to me. I am very creative.
And what did you do in Michael's life? How did you manage to what was Michael doing? I mean, how did you manage to help him out?
He's a teacher, and I came to teach him many, many, many things.
Oh,
Oh, did I teach him? Wow, I should get time and a half. I should get retirement pay. Did I teach? He needed I mean, people were watching the show know how much he needed to learn. But boy, did he not know what he needed to know.
Like, for instance, what?
Number 1. No, then there's many. I'd love to tell you them all if you're so good and nice. And
I
let me
might.
know. Keep asking good. So, for example, the first thing with his double vision, it happened that this really happened Christmas night. Not Christmas Eve, Christmas night. He was sitting across the way at a Christmas dinner from the girl he first made love with many, 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 many years ago, and they're still close friends, like us. And he's looking at her, and he says to
Lucky
her,
her.
he says, you know, I wish you loved yourself. We'll call her Karen. I wish you love yourself, Karen, as much as I love you. And she said, well, I'm from Montana. We don't do that. We don't love ourselves. We're tough. We're not this lovey-dovey. So I said, well, maybe that's good for you, Karen, because there's a nice mix of you not loving yourself and being so lovely. And then I leave,
Yes.
and I start seeing lines on the road, and they were crossing each other, even though there was...
Right then?
Yes, right as soon as I leave that party.
Oh.
And the first thing I'm teaching Mikey, this is just the first, boy, should I be paid for this, is he didn't see that Karen was beautiful. He loved her, But Karen doesn't look like the typical beauty. She looks like she feels crushed a bit, timid, lovely, but not, men are taught to look in this society who's beautiful and who isn't. And he, even after all these years, and she's such a loving friend, didn't see she's beautiful. And he even had to help. His friend next door says he likes older women because their wrinkles are so interesting, the young ones, and he likes that. And so I helped Mikey have a dream of Karen, like she was in a frame. And he looks at Karen with my help, and he sees, oh my God, I've known you for 50 years, and now I see you're beautiful. I didn't know how to look. And I call her up and I say, I email her and I say, Michael does this with my help, says, oh, I had a dream of you and you were in a picture frame and you were beautiful. She never answered.
So are you here as a blessing?
Yes. We might have to kill Michael, but we're here to teach him. That was just one of the things. But that was so important, right?
That was a beautiful story.
Yes, and
that you caused.
Yes,
Michael to open up. In what other way did Michael open up?
Oh, he needed so much help. It's pathetic. It is. I mean, you have no idea. I'm not even sure I can remember them all. But here's another.
Well, tell me one.
Here's another one that he had to learn. He had to learn. Because this is I'm right in the middle of his head, right in the middle, and he wrote a poem once. You might have heard it. Rotten to the core, I'm a rotten to the core, like a festering. And this isn't just theoretical. He was rotten to the core. I mean, everybody's got their problems. And the song ends with, and rotten to the core, he'll discover amor. That love will come through the rot. But he sang.
Love will blossom out of something.
Out of
something dark.
Yes, out of the dung, out of the rot.
The light.
Yes, because it's like nourishment, like recycled rot. So he has a way, because he's one of these, like look what he has under here. University of Chicago, where he lived the life of the mind. There was a famous, the leader at the University of Chicago, and he said whenever he had an urge to exercise, he lay down until it passed. We really lived the life of the mind. And in his mind, living the life of the mind, he would look at people, even people he was close to, nice, loving people, and they would be right in the middle in the University of Chicago. He would be judging them.
In what way?
The University of Chicago, we didn't say, how are you? Good to see you. We ran into you on campus. We'd say, Susan, what have you been thinking today? And if you weren't thinking anything interesting enough and thoughtful enough, you were rated.
Oh.
You were judged. We would judge women. I am not making this up. You probably don't even know what this means.
Well, that would be very difficult for me because sometimes I have an empty mind.
Yes, which is supposedly good for Buddhists, but not in the University of Chicago. We actually judge people. This would be a fancy word even for Cambridge. We judge women if they were ontologically dense. We didn't say, oh, she's good. Oh, wow, look at the breasts. Oh, no. We said, are you ontological? Ontological means like your being full of density. You might do good in University of Chicago.
Well, I might just.
Yes, I might love you.
I'd have to effort a little bit, but you know.
Might be you're beautiful anyway. Now that he's learned to see, so he had to learn. This was really hard for even me to helping him. Not only first not to judge people, which is hard enough, right? To just take people as they are. You might have to stop them from hurting you, but he had to learn to use his. He could do this as a teacher. Whenever anybody brought writing to his class, he would be able, even if the class thought, "Oh my Lord, is that boring and empty," he would be able, as a teacher, to say, "Hey, wait a minute. On line 3 of page 3, there's this phrase. Isn't that interesting, class?" And they would say, "Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, the apple goes bumbling along. Wow, that is interesting. Whoever thought an apple could be bumbling?" And so he'd be able to find something interesting in stuff that other people would think, "Oh my Lord."
You mean something out of nothing?
Not nothing, it was really there.
It was really
you
there.
can really,
there.
and so he had to
Oh,
learn.
something that other people thought was nothing.
Yes, and it was
Oh, well, that's
really
a
there.
difference.
Yes, and it was
Yeah.
really, really there, and he was able to do it as a teacher, but not when you got close to him. You might remind him of other people who were close to him, and they were difficult, and so he would protect himself with judging. Oh, you're not ontologically dense, Susan. Sorry, nice talking to you. See you around sometime.
Yeah, next lifetime.
Yeah, maybe, if you believe
If
in
you're
us.
lucky.
If you're lucky. So he had to learn not only to not be judging, but to do like he did as a teacher and see, not only with his eyes how beautiful people were, but with his mind, he had to see that, oh, they're really beautiful in their mind. The things they're saying, like the papers he was reading, oh my. So is that clear? Maybe not?
Yeah, well, I want to know what you did to Michael's heart. What did you do to Michael's heart?
Well,
Or for his heart?
yes, well, he was of course he was into his mind, because Universal God, we live the life in the mind. So he had to learn. I'm not sure he learned that one yet, but maybe now that you're asking, he has to ask that. Let's see, I was more into the head. You see, I wasn't giving him a heart attack.
Oh, well, let's go back to the head then.
Yes, well, but he was learning, if you don't judge, you can let that heart energy come out, though. You know, if you're judging, if you got the big judge thing here,
Yeah,
then you don't let the heart energy
you mean the
out.
judge part?
Yes. So like if I'm
It
looking,
takes you over?
if I'm looking at you now, I can see how beautiful you are, and maybe if you say something, I might, maybe for real, not trying, for real, which is very different. I'm good for doing things, helping him be real, because he would like think he was doing it for real, but he really wasn't. Let's see if we can test him. He really sees how beautiful you are now. But let's see if he sees if what you're saying is ontologically dense or not.
Well,
You see, I've learned. He could see just the way you were doing that with your well. It's really interesting. It really, and the way you're laughing now. He could finally, you didn't even have to say some brilliant thing about Socrates or Aristotle. See, so he's getting there. He's able to, and seeing really helps him see.
well,
Listen,
what about Herodotus?
Herodotus, you see?
Herodotus, so that I would definitely be out.
Yeah.
I've never said that right yet.
Yes, but see,
Herodotus.
you see, he's now learning to see how beautiful it is that you're saying that, how interesting, and really touching. That you said,
Are you
never
are you
said
talking about following every moment?
Yes, he's really has to find if you want to be religious about it, find the divinity in the moment or find the reality in the moment.
Oh.
But it was hard, and I came to teach him. He would never learn. You think this guy would learn? He might say it. He might do it as a teacher. But do you think this guy was going to learn not to, in the rotten core of his mind, if I didn't come and let him know something is wrong, mister? Something's really, you better get it together. You're 74 years old. Now you can die much better thanks to me.
Wow. So that means that you really are proud of who you are as a growth.
Yes, just call me George, like George Washington. George the Wealth.
So So George,
Yes.
is there any condition that you can think of where your love, the love that you brought Michael, is there any condition that Michael might become where you might decide to leave?
Well, his girlfriend had left him. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I did.
His girlfriend left him for blooming good reason. You
What
know?
was that?
I mean, if you're living with this person, even if they're not saying it and being nice, who's radiating this judgment at you and not seeing how beautiful you are, that would not be so good.
No.
And now, after I've taught him this stuff, she wants to be back together with him. And he can feel, with my help, he can feel, it feels like a light inside, like a light bulb inside her mind and his, and they're shining together now. And so he wasn't able to do that before. He was almost afraid of how brilliant she is, to put it that way. The brilliance, like physical brilliance. He was afraid
Oh, you're
of
not
that.
talking about smart brilliant. You're
But
talking about
really wise brilliance.
wise brilliant
Yes.
and other kinds
Even though
of
she didn't even,
brilliance.
she not only couldn't even say around as well, she probably never heard of him. You
But
might-
she's not the only
Yeah.
one.
So that would be, so that's huge for us to,
That's wonderful.
maybe I
This-
could, maybe, I know he wants me to go because he thinks I've taught him what he needs to know. But isn't that particularly ungrateful? I mean, I've been doing such a good job. Would you like to discard
Well,
me?
I'm really interested. You haven't grown or shrunk at all in 4 months. What's that all about?
Well, he's getting it. I mean, if he didn't, we'd have to,
Up the ante?
Yeah, I mean, people, you gotta, that's my job. He's gotta get it before he dies. He should be very, very grateful. Maybe he's got it all. I don't know what I'm learning myself. It's pretty nice in here, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, you seem to be cuddled up inside there. And
Like this, though, it's
Yeah.
not quite cuddly. It's like, it's kind of this shape, 2 inches here. That's a lot. There's not too much more room inside.
there's not too much more room, but
No.
but it's you're encased in the sinus cavity.
Yes.
Is that where you live?
I like it there. There's a lot of room. It's called. I could write a book called Womb with a View. It's nice. It's like very cozy there. There's not too many things except maybe a
Womb with a view.
yes. There might be a carotid artery. Roaming
Somehow I've heard that before, but maybe different words or
around. Yeah, I know, but that was room with a. This is much nicer.
this is
womb.
womb with a view.
Yes, and it's very nice.
It's very nice
Yes,
there.
I hope you're not going to want me to leave.
So my question to you is, why else have you come? What are the other lessons that you might be able to
One
tell
more?
us?
There was so many.
How's your
lessons.
poetry going? How's Michael's poetry going? How's his book going? Those kinds of things. Do you think that you've had any impact on that?
Well, you see, he writes these things like rotten to the core, like a festering sore. If you are my friend, here's what's in store. Festering like a sore, you'll rot right through your core. If you are my love, here is what's in store. You'll be like a whore, rotting from your core. Rotten to the core.
Rotten to the core.
So we can know these things in some level, but not, I had to really let him know this isn't just, some theoretical or thoughtful or metaphysical core. At the real physical core of his body. And I understand, we have, not everyone has a beautiful childhood like you with no problem. But he had,
That's another show.
we get wounded and we get rotten and we get pain and he had to learn to really feel this physically, not just sing it.
Okay. I'm going to take that in. That he had to really feel it
Yes.
physically.
Yes, and know it. And not just have it be a thought, an interesting, nice, playful thought. That he was really, really rotten to the core. He couldn't see how people were beautiful. Really. He couldn't see them well. He couldn't hear them and take them in well. That was a lot. And he couldn't bind with his head and his mind with someone else. He'd talk a big talk. Right, there's all these songs. If you ever need a friend who will love you through the end, I'm your friend. And it was true about that, but there was something rotten in there. He was, he wasn't
In other
quite.
words, it wasn't clean. It wasn't
and
clear.
Yes, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. They tried too hard.
Okay, maybe he tried too hard.
Because
Maybe that was
if
it.
you're rotten, you have to try very hard to be nice. Wow, did he try hard? Instead of, okay, I'm going to be with the rat. You know this well. I'm going to be with the rat and see what grows, and that's why I'm a growth. I grew out of it. Thanks to people like you, he was encouraged to let grow out of him what was true.
So where does love come in here?
Well, he's learning if you don't judge people, right? And you can see their beauty. Yum. Your heart just gets touched. You don't have to try to love them, which he was doing because he didn't know how.
He didn't know
And he
how.
didn't know it was...
What? Wait a minute. What do you mean he didn't know how? What do you mean he didn't know how? Had he never had the experience before? Had his mother never loved him?
Well, jeez. His mother, well, we're bringing up my dearly beloved mother, who I tried so hard to be nice to because she was really mean and she knew that.
She was what?
Mean. She would hit him all the time.
Oh.
And then he would cry and she'd hit him for crying because boys don't cry. She was very unhappy. And he was the firstborn and she didn't
She
want-
took it out on him?
Yes, she did. She wanted him to be her husband too. It was a very complicated situation. She once walked into I shouldn't say this in television, but this is what happened. She'd walk into the bathroom when he was 15 and say, I wish your father could amaze me the way you do. Ooh. Ooh, what things? I don't know. So he just pushed everything away and tried to live in his head. It was a good move. He escaped into his mind, his rotten mind.
Oh.
And then he tried to love her so much because he wanted to be a good person. Because people like this who are so wounded that we try to be good, we join spiritual groups. We want to be, it's known as spiritual bypass. We think and we have some feeling of what it's like to love everybody, including ourselves. But there's also the rest of our psychology that hasn't got with the program. I am here to help him get with the program. Speaking of the program, we have 3 more minutes of this program, and then we'll be on probably a different kind of program.
And then we're going to be
For
on
the
a
second-
different kind of program,
for the
but
second
3
part.
more minutes. What would you like to tell Michael today, and what would you like to tell, since we are here and it's real, we're on AHA, what would you like to say?
Well, I know Michael wants me to go, which is pretty ungrateful if you ask me, yes. All these things I told him. He wants me to leave now. How would you feel? He wants you to leave.
Yeah.
You take this poor thing under your wing, you befriend them and you love them and you teach them. Now he says, very nice, I want you to go. Do you think that's a nice way to treat me?
Well, I think as a growth, you came here for a purpose. And if your purpose is, and
Accomplished.
everything is love,
Mission accomplished.
and your purpose is to teach him, then
Well, maybe I
isn't
could go.
that your purpose?
Maybe I could retire. Wow.
You could. retire.
Oh, because there's being a biopsy of me on Tuesday. They're going to find out what I'm really made of. This Tuesday, 11:45 at Brigham and Women's. They're going to find out who I really am.
Oh.
It might take them 5 days because I'm a special person. They want to make sure they get it right.
They get it right.
So they'll find out who I am, and then maybe with their help, maybe not. Maybe I could say, it's time. That's a great idea.
It's nice. to
I've worked
know you.
very hard for him.
Him.
Maybe it's time to retire and maybe just flow down the drain and join
It's
the
time
earth.
to see you, but it's nice to see you, but I have to go.
I
Is that-
hate to leave you,
ya,
but I really must say goodbye, Mikey. Goodbye. Wow.
Well, George, thank you so much. It's been wonderful
And thank
meeting
you.
you.
Oh, it was really nice meeting you too.
Wonderful.
Maybe I could. Would you like a little company in your head? Would you? Oh,
Well,
wait, no.
if I have lessons to learn, who knows?
Well, be careful what you say.
If I have lessons
You
to learn,
wow.
I'm learning them all the time.
Mikey said to me he's very glad I came.
Yeah.
He really is. He loves me and likes me.
I know. I'm so glad.
And maybe I could retire thanks to you. And bye everybody in TV land.
During a